Hello my friend, and welcome back to Riding with Doug. And if this is the very first video you've watched, welcome. I'd like to invite you to the channel and hope you spend a little time. This channel is all about my 2017 Harley Davidson Road Glide and the adventures I take, plus a ton of tips and good advice on how to maintain your motorcycle and how to make the very best out of every motorcycle adventure that you're interested in taking. So, welcome to the brand new garage. This is the first time I've filmed in the garage, and it's quite a bit different. It's quite a bit more space, and so I now have a little more room to move the bike around and do the oil changes I need and maintenance and that kind of stuff. So it's going to make a huge difference, and it's a much nicer, bigger garage than what I had before, so that's also convenient. So today, as we roll into the holiday season for 2025, I just wanted to take a few minutes and share with you the 5 helpful tips that I think are important when you're trying to get your motorcycle ready for the long winter. And so I live in Colorado, and we get nice days too, but we have at least 3 months of pretty nasty weather that most of the time the motorcycle sits inside and stays out of the cold. So I do a little riding in the wintertime. I don't ride on ice, I don't ride on snow. So I try to avoid both of those, and when it's nice and it's decent outside, then I'll try to get out and take it for a little spin. But I want to start off and give you some helpful hints so that you're not just leaving your motorcycle unprepared and not ready to brave the elements. So these 5 tips aren't really in any particular order, but I did want to make sure to share with you some good information that I think is helpful for trying to store your motorcycle over the wintertime. So tip number 1, and that is to make sure that your battery stays charged, because if you let it sit for 4 months or 5 months or 6 months, depending on where you live and how much weather you get, it's not good on the battery to just let it sit. So I highly recommend a tender. And the battery tender I use is made by Delfram, and there are lots of battery tenders out there. Harley Davidson has its own battery tender. And what the battery tender does is it's designed to take your battery level and actually maintain the battery. So what it'll do is it'll drain the battery out, charge the battery up, drain the battery, and it's designed to keep the battery rolling in those stages so that when you get to April or May, whenever you're ready to ride the motorcycle again, you don't drag it out and it's got a dead battery. And this is just a battery tender plus, and it's very easy to use. You only have 2 plugs. You have a plug for the power for the wall, and you have this SAE plug that is designed to plug into the motorcycle. And there's no maintenance to it. Once you plug it in, you just let it do its thing, and it will optimize the battery for you over the winter while you're not riding the motorcycle. Okay, and then tip number 2. And tip number 2, most people skip, and it's looked over a lot. But throughout the year, you want to make sure that tire inflation is always on your list, because riding with a low tire or overinflated tire is very hazardous. And I highly recommend that you pay attention to the tire pressure in your front and rear tire to help maintain safety, maintain your mileage, and improve your overall ride. And if you want to know more about tire pressure, you can click right up here and watch this video on tire pressure. So when I put the motorcycle away for the couple of months that I don't get to ride it, I make sure to go in and I check the tire pressure, and you can find all that information in your owner's manual. So for this 2017 Road Glide and Street Glide and then the Ultra, the front tire pressure is 36 and the rear tire pressure is 41. But that will vary depending on your make and motorcycle. So check that out in your owner's manual or service manual to make sure that you have the right tire pressure. All right, and then moving on. And number 3 is kind of optional, right? So number 3 is a cover. And I'm a big proponent of protecting my motorcycle. I try to make sure that my motorcycle pretty much looks like it came off the showroom yesterday, and I do take really good care of it. And a lot of times when I don't ride it, I will pull it into the garage, take care of the other 4 items on my list, and then I throw the cover over the top just to protect it from dust and dirt and debris, any of that stuff. So, and that's completely up to you. If you put your motorcycle outside and it's not in a garage or a covered area, I highly recommend a cover. It's a fantastic idea. All right, moving on to number 4. And number 4 is probably the biggest thing that you can do to help protect your motorcycle, and that's add some stabilizer to the fuel. So when I pull up to the gas station, I'll add the stabilizer to the bottom of the tank. I'll top the tank off, and then I try to shake it up a little bit. I don't know, you probably don't need to do that, but I try to shake the bike a little bit just to kind of mix it in a little, and then I'll ride it home at least 4 or 5 miles to make sure that that stabilizer also gets into the injectors and the other parts of the motor that you could gel gasoline in. Okay, and so last but not least, and this one's a little controversial, I do an oil change. Your motorcycle is going to sit for 4 months, and I prefer to drain as much of that contaminants out of the bike, and I do a full 3-hole oil change for the motorcycle before I put it up for the winter time. And if you're interested in how I do that 3-hole oil change, that video will be out next week to help you prepare your motorcycle for the long winter ahead. Okay, I've covered the 5 basic ideas behind getting your motorcycle ready to go to hibernate it for the winter, and I hope this helps. If you have questions or you have comments, please feel free to throw them down below. I'm always happy to answer your questions and help you out if I can. And as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.